Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends, I hope you're having a fantastic day and a great start to your weekend. My name is Teresa and I love all things makeup, beauty and skincare. So on the weekends I like to hang out with you guys to talk about the newest releases in that category, but I do try to streamline it. I say I don't do that. You guys actually message me, DM me, email me with the stuff that you guys want to talk about. So very much this episode is curated by everyone who contacts me. So a massive thank you to everyone who does that. Your names are being displayed right now. I so appreciate it. As per usual, a huge thank you as well to my YouTube community members. I need to do the giveaway thing soon. I've been meaning to do that and I've added extra things to the box. I'm just all over the place as per usual. Are we really that surprised? We don't have as much to talk about this week, thank goodness. Last week, oh my god, I was editing for 5 million years, but we do still have to stay hydrated. And let me show you my mug du jour. You can't tell me that's not the effing cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. And can I just show you the front? Well, I suppose it's the back, but it's the front to me. It's what I get to see because I'm the special tea drinker. Look at that. How cute. It says cuddles please, and it's just a gorgeous little cat sitting on a dog, in case anyone wants to know where I got it from. It's from Tesco's, and as far as I know, they're still there. But get yourself your beverages, your libations, your snacks, and we'll just jump straight on into it. The first thing is more an update. You know the general drill, right? Everything's awful, the world is on fire, everything's increasing in price because of people who are foolish, I guess is the nicest way that I can say it. But Moira Cosmetics put this over on their Instagram and they basically said, yeah, our prices are going to be increasing. Now, Moira Cosmetics are known for keeping their prices very, very affordable. They have a great range of products and they're fantastic quality. And part of what I like about it is the affordability, but they are going up quite a bit. And they've basically said, yeah, due to recent changes in US tariff policy, some import costs have gone up and it's affecting the beauty biz. Now, they've been very transparent and they're trying to make sure that most of your favorites stay under $10, which I think is still kind of amazing. But they said that from June 1st, so it's already affecting us, they're going to be updating their prices. So keep that in mind. It just is what it is. Everyone's increasing in price. My issue, as always, is once you increase in price, it's very hard to bring it back down because the brand will then say, well, people are willing to pay that much for it. So maybe if we just keep it up that high and then we'll make profits. Maybe I sound salty. I just don't trust people. But yeah, more price increases. And don't get me wrong, like beauty is not a necessity, but this is just one realm. It's affecting lots of different realms for people and it's just, it's difficult to see it all kind of coming into place. But I mean, this is the world we live in now. It's really goddamn weird. The next little piece of news slash makeup release is quite a funny one. So this is Nomad Cosmetics, and yes, they do release quite a bit. Personally, I feel they've kind of gone into the overproduction realm, but that's my own idea. Feel free to disagree. But they have been in business for 10 years. Can I just say, being in business as an indie brand for 10 years is an incredible achievement. That is absolutely amazing, and they should absolutely give themselves a pat on the back, several pats on the back, maybe open up some champagne and just generally tell themselves how fantastic they are, because it is very, very difficult. So what they've decided to do as part of this 10-year anniversary is to re-release some of their discontinued palettes. And the palettes are available for €42.95. The 3 palettes that they've brought back is the America's Parks palette, the Fête de Provence palette, and the Berlin Untergrund palette. Of those 3, I only own the Berlin one because it's just the one that is the most appealing to me, and also a friend gave it to me. So as I said, they're €42.95 each, but you can combine them if you're interested. They're €127.95. To the best of my knowledge, the formula hasn't changed from their first iteration. This will be really good for people who kind of have recently gotten into Nomad Cosmetics and maybe felt a little bit of a FOMO about not getting those particular palettes. Now, I feel I would have loved to have seen their Oriental Express one come back, but maybe reimagine it because they got into some trouble with that at that time. But I think the colour story was really, really interesting. I think that if they had reimagined that would have been really, really good. But I can see why they've gone for these. They're pretty nice ones. Like I said, the Fête de Provence I don't have, and the America's Parks I don't have. I love Nomad Cosmetics, I really do. I don't own all of their stuff because I am at least attempting to be a little bit more chilled in my makeup collection, she said, even though this week was a fucking weird one and I seem to have bought way more than I actually necessarily needed. But yeah, it's a re-release. So technically not new, but an interesting way to kind of celebrate a 10-year anniversary. So I'm not against it. So there you go. Now we're on to P. Louise, and I don't talk about P. Louise that often, not because she doesn't come out with 5,000,001 products, but simply because I get a bit like overwhelmed and I feel that at times it's a smidgen repetitive. But this is their budget box for June. It's available for €56.95. I say it's available, it's actually sold out. Now, they haven't actually responded to any of the comments underneath their Instagram asking if they're going to make, for example, the palette available separately. I assume they will, because it is quite an interesting one. So within this box, you get the Make It Rain eyeshadow palette, the Rain Check Hyaluronic Moisturizer, Clean Slate Double Layer Cleansing Water and Oil, and the Start Your Rain Hyaluronic Acid Eye Cream. And my gorgeous friend Wilma Fingerdo, who you guys know I absolutely 100% adore, messaged me with this, and I was like, oh yeah, I do like this, but I'm not gonna get it. I don't need the skincare. That was what I was telling myself. And I need you all to know this, because like I start with good intentions. That's, you know, the spirit is willing, oh, the flesh is so weak and open to poking that my brain fixated on this and just kind of went, but what if it goes? What if you can never get this again? Even though, let's be real, if I could never get this again, my life would continue. The world would continue to spin. It wouldn't be a massive issue, but I got myself into that circle and I did end up purchasing this. So it ended up being like €60.95. If you're in the UK, it's £30, which is like an incredible deal, but obviously I have to pay all the taxes and bits and pieces. But we're going to talk about maybe the Make It Rain eyeshadow palette first. I think this is one of the most interesting colour stories that she's put forward as an eyeshadow palette in a really long time. I like that mixture of the pale shades, and then there's a few medium shades, not as much as I might like, but again, I'm just very pernickety. But the really dark, deep shades, I appreciate. They've swatched them over on Instagram. They look pretty good. I mean, I have found with P. Louise, either I absolutely adore the formula and find it so great and so pigmented and so blendable, or it's really difficult to work with. And I am hoping that this one is an easy to work with one, you know? That's my hope. I seem to have like kind of variable luck with P. Louise. I don't know what the story is, but this palette does look very nice. It's not immediately obvious that it's P. Louise either. There's something about this that almost feels a little bit glam light-esque to it. Does that make sense? Like, it feels a little bit. Now, in terms of the shimmers, they don't look like they're anything amazing, but I don't, at least I've never felt like any of their shimmers were like, wow, out there. They don't compare to some of the indie brands or the C Beauty brands that I've tried, but they look respectable, you know? Then, of course, when we get on to the more skincare stuff, there's nothing there that makes me kind of go, oh, that's wildly offensive or stuff that I wouldn't necessarily use. And the thing is, anything that I've tried in terms of P. Louise and their skincare, I've liked. I haven't sat there and been like, oh, I don't like it. Actually, there's a gel moisturizer that she has, and I've repurchased that. I really enjoyed that. So I'm not against it. I just, when I was speaking to Wilma about it, I had said, I'm kind of happy with my skincare. I don't think I need any extra bits, and I definitely don't. I don't. But the gremlin took over, like just threw me out of the way, took hold of the wheel and just made some very questionable decisions. But like, it doesn't seem bad. Like, hyaluronic moisturizer, I have chronically dry skin. It's kind of ironic considering I'm in Ireland, one of the wettest countries in the world. Like, it's just constantly raining. Well, it's been constantly raining for the last 3 days, but like, you know, we won't really talk about that. Even the cleansing water and oil, I like that. I like a good cleansing oil, so I don't dislike that. And then the hyaluronic acid eye cream, I could F with that. You know, there's nothing about that I'm kind of sitting there going, ugh. And yes, I've spent €60.95. Watch me try to justify this. Oh my God. For me, for a palette that size, I mean, we're talking about a £42 palette. I'm paying €60 for that. Doesn't seem like it's that bad. The way I'm looking at it is I mostly bought it for the palette, and then I just happened to get some additional skincare in that. I'm not saying that I make good life choices. There's a reason why this is not a finance channel, because we'd all be bankrupt if we followed my advice. But I'm excited about this. I'm hoping it's a good one. Look, I've been meaning to get back to swatching Sundays. I am chronically exhausted. I don't know, like, I've had so much stuff going on in my own life. and just kind of trying to get back to doing things. Oh my god, even just trying to do releases and rants every week, I'm exhausted, like permanently. You can see it like under my eyes. I'm just like, I want to go to bed. So in my head I'm like, oh, I could use this for swatching Sundays. And then the realistic part of me is, Teresa, you're a lazy bitch. You want to go and have a nap, don't you? Yes, I do. So I don't know. I like it. With the best of intentions, I'd hope that I'd do that, but who really knows? Basically what I'm trying to say is, I like this palette. I ended up getting it. Don't you fucking judge me. I had a moment of weakness, several weaknesses this week, and we're going to be nice to me. We now have Glaminatrix yet again. This is launching this Sunday, so as you're watching it, it's not available yet, but it will be. And they're apparently revealing another product later on in the week. I haven't seen anything yet, you know, but as I'm filming, this is June 5th, Thursday night, quite late at night. So maybe they have since then. I'll talk about that next week. I can't be bothered to put that in post editing because I'm terrible at that. Anyways, they have an 8-piece brush set. They said that we've been working on brushes for the past 2 years and we couldn't be more excited to show you these. They come with a beautiful brown PU leather bag to store them in. All brushes are fully custom made from the slanted handles, which I quite like. That'll kind of help you get the proper grip. And finger indentation, again, I quite like that idea, to the engraved rose gold ferrule. The bristles are synthetic and blend eyeshadow beautifully and effortlessly. They're 120 Australian dollars. In terms of a currency exchange, then that's 78 US dollars for the full set. So it's pricey enough when you're looking at it. So as I said, it's launching this Sunday, 8th June, 8 AM AEST. Okay, I like the look of these. Like even the shapes of the brushes, they're so nice and small. You guys know I love little detailing brushes because I have hooded eyes and I unfortunately don't have a lot of lid space. So people, when they're using like those big blendy brushes, I'm like, no, if I used that, it would go right out into the rest of my face. I need teeny tiny little brushes, like baby brushes made for little Sylvanian families. Which, by the way, a friend of mine got me a Sylvanian family house this week, and it was extremely exciting. Happens to be one of my special interests. Anyways, I like the way that these look. I love the attention to detail in terms of the slanted handle, because I haven't done any makeup videos in 5 million years, but you might have noticed way back I would constantly be trying to remind myself about where to place my hand and my fingers, because I have a tendency to just go right on up towards the very edge, which actually makes blending so much more difficult. And I feel like this is a really smart prompt to keep your hand in place. So I really like that. They look very, very luxe. Do I think this is a necessary spend? No, I don't. I think it's quite expensive for what it is. Like it's 78 US dollars. You're talking about 8 brushes and a bag. So it's about $9 per brush, plus I just assume the bag is free. That's what I've decided. I don't think it's bad. I don't. But this is one of those ones that if I was under the shipping for something, I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe. But in what scenario am I going to be $80 under free shipping? Do you know what I mean? So I kind of can't see myself getting that. But for my lovely Australian friends, I think this is a really, really great one for you guys, because there's not that many indie brands that are at your fingertips. And to have something like Glaminatrix, at least you have that. Like that's such a good brand to have at your fingertips. I like the way that this looks. I do. I think it looks really pretty, really luxe. I don't have anything against it. I have many, many pots of brushes. I won't even count them now because it's actually, and I actually decluttered some brushes there the other day. That does not give me license to buy more, she said to remind herself. But I do like these. I just don't need them. We then have Kylie Cosmetics, and I think I always find Kylie Cosmetics to be quite interesting. I've bought a few little products from them, nothing major. Like I've got like a red liquid lipstick because of course Teresa loves a red lip, and it's quite nice. I don't have anything against it. I got a palette that is very grey toned, very nice. don't have anything against it. But I don't know what it is about myself and Kylie Cosmetics. I get a little bit of a mental block with it, and I just kind of enter this state of almost refusal to accept them. And I don't know if this is because of that early stuff around the brand and and I don't know if it was necessarily fact, but I know there was a lot of debate as to the origin of the formula of like her lip kits, etc., that they potentially came from Colourpop, and obviously there was a much bigger price rise, etc. there. But I mean, that's standard in cosmetics, that you'll sell your thing for a lot higher than the distributor because you're assigning your name to it. Anyways, all of this to say that she has some new Dewy Balm sticks. There's 4 shades. They're €25.95 each, which in my kind of books seems pricey enough. Like, it's mid-range. You get 0.21 fluid ounces, so I feel like that's not a huge amount for that price. There's 4 shades. There's Rose Dusk, which is a soft rosy pink, Solar Glow, an opalescent pink, which is, by the way, the one that I'm the most interested in, Lunar Sky, a champagne, Peach Sun, a soft peachy bronze. But here's the thing that I find really goddamn weird. This is limited edition. Why? Why is this limited edition? Of all of the things that you could make limited edition, why would this be limited edition? I understand an eyeshadow palette being limited, but this, I don't know. Anytime I see a face product be limited edition, I straight away side eye it and go, what are we doing here? The shades themselves, they're fine. I will say, I appreciate the fact that they've shown them on the face, and maybe this is me, but when I go through them, I feel like they've got too much color in those highlights, so that it's like immediately obvious that's where the highlight is and that's the color of the highlight. It's not very glass skin, and part of why I say this is that in their description they say lightweight and wet like glow, get glazed and glassy skin. But because of the level of pigment that's in them, they don't really look that glassy. Again, that's probably me being a little bit whatever. I don't think they look that bad, but maybe it's just the way that they photograph them to show just the level of highlight. I feel like it sticks out a little bit too much. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, it's so obvious, and I feel like if you want an obvious highlighter, that's cool. There's a very specific makeup aesthetic that comes with that, but I don't think that you would normally use kind of those dewy sticks for that. If you're gonna go for an obvious highlighter, you're gonna go balls to the wall and be like, here, this has glitter and sparkles and it's a duochrome and a multi-chrome and whatever else it is that tickles your pickle. But this feels too tame for that, but then also too much for if you wanted to do the, oh, I just rolled out of bed looking like this. I don't know if that critique even makes much sense, but it's such an obvious highlight, and I feel like for something that is meant to be glassy skin, it shouldn't be something that is so obvious that I go, you've got your highlight on in this exact spot. It just looks like it's so dense and fixed to the skin, which is part of what makes me kind of go, is this why this is limited edition? Because I can't see this being super popular either. That being said, that very last shade, I like that one, but that's because it's like a little bit more out there. It has that like pinky tinge to it, and I feel like I could get away with it. I like that one. But in all, I feel like Kylie Cosmetics is just such a strange one, and I can't really understand the rationale for some of the things that she comes out with. I really struggle to understand things like limited edition. I just think they're foolish nonsense. Could we maybe not do that if at all possible? I hate FOMO as a marketing tactic. It just drives me bananas. Like, even when I look at some of these, I'm thinking to myself, would Kylie herself wear that? I don't know. Like, I'm not a big Jenner Kardashian fan. They're not my thing. You know, I don't wish them any whatever. They're just not my sort of jam. I'm just not convinced that this is something that I could see her wearing. And if your whole brand is centered around yourself, you really should, I think, have stuff that reflects you as much as possible. like there's aspects of this that I like, but in saying that, there's so many other brands that do things like this. I mean, House Labs did their dewy sticks and they looked really, really interesting. I did end up buying one. Don't talk to me about it, let us not. I mean, there was even the Ciate dewy sticks that came with the Robert Welch collection not that long ago, R.I.P. Ciate. Loved that. Thought that was fabulous. That was a proper glassy skin and a fraction of the cost. I just think this is more expensive than it should be for what it is, and it's not giving the effect that I think that Kylie's consumers would necessarily want in this day and age. Maybe back in 2018 when it was all about the stripy highlighter with the like very obvious, here's where this is, yes. But I think in 2025, people are much more aware of how to blend things out and have things be much more seamless, that this feels, I'm not going to say dated, but just not executed in a way that actually makes sense for the current population. But Kylie didn't leave it at that. She actually added in an extra release this week. This is the hybrid blush. They're $22 each. You get 0.08 fluid ounces and there are 8 shades. Part of what I find interesting about this is that this formula is talc free. So I actually think that's pretty good when you're looking at a $22 price point. It also claims to be sweat resistant. She says it's my first of its kind hybrid blush. Yeah, your first of its kind. We have seen other brands who've done hybrid blushes, which is grand. Like, I'm glad to see her do this sort of thing. She says that it melts into the skin like a cream but has the soft focus smoothing effect of a powder, suede-like and weightless. This formula is highly pigmented, super blendable and offers seamless mistake-proof application. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Dionysus blushes. It sounds like such a similar sort of a description. They go on to say, sweep it on for an instant flush of colour with a soft matte finish that lasts up to 12 hours. I like that description of a soft matte finish because a lot of the blushes that are on the market over the last while have had a highlight texture to it, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But if you have textured skin and you want a blush, as soon as you add in a more highlight component into it, it starts showing up all of that texture. So I appreciate the fact that this is much more matte. It'll probably be a lot more wearable and user-friendly for a greater portion of the population. She says that it's innovative, silky smooth formula with a suede-like texture. I'm kind of interested in what the story is with this 12-hour wear. That is water resistant, sweat and humidity proof. I'd love to know, how do they test that? Just have visions of people on a treadmill, just with a shit ton of blush on them, just sweating it out. I will never volunteer for any of those studies. In terms of the blush shades themselves, they're grand. I don't dislike any of them. I could see where there could be some extensions. Like, it's very heavy on the pink. And I don't hate that. Pinks look quite nice on me. Do you remember maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, orange blushes were all the rage? Like, everyone was coming out with orange blushes. And it's interesting to see now that that has kind of died down. It's still there, like the brands still offer orange blushes, but it's nowhere near to the extent that it once was. And I just find that really, really interesting. I think they're missing some more like mauvey shades, etc. in there. But as a whole, they look nice. And even on the skin, it looks nice. My kind of slight critique there is that obviously when they've put on the blush, they've also mixed it in with a highlight, which is fine. That's the full look. But if you're selling this as being a matte blush, I like to see it just by itself, if at all possible, because I can't tell with 100% certainty if that is definitely a blush plus some highlight, or have you lied to me and said that it's a matte blush when actually there's a little bit of a highlight. Do you know what I mean? Do I sound insane? I probably do sound insane. I do like that palest pink, like it's so pretty. I feel, and I do appreciate that they've shown it on a variety of skin tones, but I feel like some of them are not as flattering for deeper skin tones. And those pinks, for example, are just pulling a little bit ashy on the models with a deeper skin tone. Now again, I appreciate the fact that they're showing that as it is, but at the same time, then make sure that you have a line that has blushes that will work for people of a variety of skin tones. I don't understand how we're doing that in this day and age. I'm not saying that you have to have a blush that will work for everyone. That's insane. That won't happen. But you need to have a line where pretty much as many people as possible with a variety of skin tones can find something that would work for them and it isn't going to pull in a strange way. In general, I think it looks quite nice. Like I said, I just feel that even though they have 8 shades, it does feel like this is very much more catered towards people of my skin tone. Like I feel like I could get away with more of those blushes than somebody with even like a more medium skin tone. It does seem to pull a little bit more ashy, which I just feel, again, I don't know how we're doing that in this day and age. And I don't know how they don't have a proper purple. Like how? We all know this. Like, even if you're not into makeup, you've heard enough people being like, purple looks beautiful on a deeper skin tone. I'm not saying that every brand has to do an absolute purple, but for the love of God, have something that'll work for deeper skin tones. I also feel, sorry, bear with me, that while I appreciate the fact that they have some diversity of models, the diversity of models is still not as inclusive as it could be. Like, even the person with the deepest skin tone there isn't representative of the deepest skin tone within society. So they're straight away cutting off a big chunk of their market, and it's making it much more difficult then for any consumers that might want something to make any sort of informed decisions. I just don't understand it. Also, why do all of the models have to be women? They don't have to be. I mean, blush is for anyone who wants to put it on, is all I'm saying. Also, it's Pride Month, god damn it. Maybe I'm being too sensitive, but yeah, it's fine. It's grand, and I actually think the price point is pretty good on that. Like $22 for a talc-free blush. Why the heck not? Just, I think we could have some extra shades in there, and it hasn't been fully thought through. But in all, it's not the worst. This is what I'm saying with Kylie Cosmetics. I don't know what to make of it, because sometimes I'm like, grr, arg, and then other times I'm like, it's not bad. I actually get where you're coming from with this, but there's just no kind of clear vision. I can't figure out exactly what the brand is. Does that make sense? You're really sitting there going, Tracy, you make no sense. That's fine. Well, it's not, but I get it, but I'm trying my best. I just feel like maybe a more clear vision needs to be outlined. And I always just find it weird when brands name themselves after themselves, you know, because it's hard then to delineate the brand from the individual. Because like I said, I would just assume that this makeup would be stuff that Kylie herself would like. And I'm like, I'm not sure if she would. So what's the story there? I probably am overthinking this. But there you go. Going from overthinking to probably not thinking at all, this is Burts Bees. Yeah, I know, I never talk about Burts Bees, but they have done a collaboration with Mike's Hot Honey, and it's a moisturising lip balm. I don't know what Mike's Hot Honey is. I assume it's an American thing, but I worry because there is a picture of a pepper, and they go on to say it's a moisturising beeswax lip balm infused with the irresistible sweet heat flavour. I don't want sweet heat on my lips, or maybe I do. But I don't want burning sensation. That's not pleasant. And then there's honey, which I'm like, okay, honey makes sense on the lips because honey is an antiseptic, you know, it's healing, blah, blah, blah. This is a sweet and spicy lip balm for soft lips with a kick. I don't need my lips to be kicked, thank you very much. And the sweet heat flavour of Mike's Hot Honey. Non-plumping. So you just have like, is it heat? Like, can you taste the spice? What's going on? Because they're like, it's infused with the sweet heat flavour, so then you get the flavour of the heat, but then you don't get the plumping. I'm not saying I want plumping. You know how much I hate plumping. But wait, I get the taste of it, but none of the potential benefit. I'm lost. Anyways, it's made with beeswax and vitamin E for healthy looking lips. $3.99. I don't know. I've never felt very strongly about a condiment in my life. Like, I've never just gone, oh my god, Kikkoman soy sauce, I couldn't live without you. Although as a vegetarian, to be fair, I cook a lot with soy sauce, but I've never felt so strongly about any sort of a condiment. I'm trying to think. I like a honey and mustard dressing, but I wouldn't be like, oh my god, I must smear this all over my lips. Is this a cultural thing? Like, I remember there was one last year and it was like something to do with like a salad dressing or a ranch dressing or something, and I was beyond confused about it. But the fact that this is has happened again. This is not the first time that I've seen a brand like Burts Bees do something like this. So it begs the question, America, are you okay? Is this a cry for help? Should we send you things? Is everything okay? What can I do? What can we do? There's nothing about this that makes me kind of go, yeah, that's the natural. Like, when did we stop having lip balms have normal flavours like pomegranate and coconut and strawberry? Now it's hot honey. I don't know. Just because it's new and hasn't been done before doesn't mean that it should be done. Maybe it hasn't been done because it was a foolish idea. At least I suppose it's not like a crazy price. It's $3.99. You know, you're not going to have to remortgage your house, but like, goodness, like, what's going on? Every so often, I do enjoy that we have these weird ones every so often that I can't just be like, that's an easy pass. As if I'm sitting there kind of going, oh yes, I'm doing so good. Well done me, not getting a heat flavoured fucking lip balm. There was never going to be any like chance of me getting that. But I can fool myself into thinking I've been a good girl. So at least there's that. We then have MAC Cosmetics, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the first time that they've done a Viva Glam collection that has a lip gloss. So I kind of like that. They've deviated from the norm. The norm is usually a lovely lipstick. And I wouldn't complain because I like a lipstick. I love a red lipstick. I've gotten their Viva Glams over the last couple of years. But this one is a collaboration with Petras, and it's a non-sticky lip gloss. It's their Lipglass Air. It is limited edition because it's part of the Viva Glam. But what I love about this, and you know, whatever your critiques might be for MAC, I don't think you can criticise them for the way that they deal with charities. They're putting 100% back to charity. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I don't hate this. I don't hate this. So apparently this new shimmering red was created in partnership with Petras, which very interesting. It's a non-sticky mirror-like shine moisturising lip gloss, a lightweight comfortable formula that nourishes lips with a blend of 7% pure botanical oils, including coconut, jojoba and meadow foam seed. Instantly hydrates lips for 8 hours. Lips appear smoother, visibly reducing the appearance of lines for fuller, plumper looking lips. And each gloss is engraved with Kim's signature for $26. I mean, it's pricey enough for a lip gloss, $26, but again, 100% of the proceeds are going towards charity, so I'm kind of like, grand. I wouldn't really say that this is necessarily a red, which is typically what you get with Viva Glam, but I quite like it. I think it's very pretty. $26, very, very nice. Do I need this? No. We all know I don't. But I think if you're in the market for a lip gloss and you like this sort of a shade, the quality is generally pretty darn good with MAC. And then the fact that the money goes towards charity, I mean, it does feel a little bit like a no-brainer in this particular instance. It does look very plumpy. It wouldn't look like that on me because I have shit lips, you know. I have like a very thin upper lip and then sort of a lower lip. It's very disappointing, but you know, my genetics, they're shit. I like this. I think it looks very, very pretty. I appreciate the fact that they've come out with something for Pride, but it's not 1,000,001 things. And they've kind of kept to that historic Viva Glam thing. You know, it just shows their continuing commitment. And when you look at the world and the way it is now, the LGBT community are, let's be 100% honest, at their most vulnerable. At least the most vulnerable that they've been, I think, in the last 20 to 30 years. So seeing a brand as big as MAC so clearly stand behind an LGBT community is very, very impactful. So I personally think that that's absolutely great. No, I'm not going to get it. I'm talking myself into it. Somebody, like, speak to me. Tell me to, like... I do think it's really pretty. And that shade would look nice on me. It would. Because I'm so fair, and it looks like a strawberry daiquiri, and I don't even drink, but I'm just like, wonder would it taste like anything? No, it wouldn't. Maybe it would taste like hot sweet honey, like that Mike's hot honey thing. I don't know. I'm in a weird space. It's very late at night and I'm filming. But yeah, I like it. I think I need to calm the F down. But this, I'm not even going to apologize for how excited I am about this. During the week, I did a kind of video about Sea Beauty Mall. They had asked me to do it and I was like, cool, let me get out all of the stuff that I bought from you, which is terrifying, but also like somewhat like, oh, you have an issue. And I talked at length about the 2 Huaxu palettes that I have that are part of the Velveteen series, and they have now got a new one. This is their Magnetic Chameleon eyeshadow palette in the shade Dionysus. And it's available right now over on Sea Beauty Mall for €55.95. You can use my code. It'll give you, I think it's 5% off. So you get like €1 off, which isn't massive. But fuck me, you won't be surprised to know I've already ordered this. And I am making absolutely zero apologies for this. There's a sagey green, and sweet Jesus, if it's the same fucking formula that's in those Huaxus that I have, my mind will be blown. I am way too excited. So within this palette, there's 4 different finishes. We have the matte, which by the way, the mattes in those Huaxus are ridiculous. You just place them onto the eye and they blend themselves. I mean, that's hyperbole, but they are really fucking good. Like, they are so good. Diamond Glitter, Optical Chameleon, and Iridescent Duochrome. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. The only thing that I don't like about the Huaxu palettes that I have is that it has this like velvet on the front, which the texture makes me want to like peel off my skin. But that's such a minor thing when you look at this. My other quibble is that they had lovely square pans and now they've changed them to circles, and I kind of want them to be consistent. This is such a smallish. I fucking love this. I absolutely love this. Even when it's swatched out, it's so pretty. You have the pale kind of springtime shades, but then there's some grungy shades in there as well. It feels fresh. It feels delicious. It's tasty. Even the arm swatches that you see like in the light, you can really see how it captures some of those shades. I just need you to know that this is happening. It has happened. I did purchase it. I want only positive feedback from you guys. I'm so excited. Like that sage green, oh my god, the pale blue, like it's such a, it's not quite a periwinkle, but there's like a slight like purple leaningness to it. It's so unusual to see that exact shade of a blue. It's like a cornflower blue, but not quite. I need to learn more colours. But even the yellow was really interesting. Now it's not a true yellow, because normally a true yellow is very, very difficult. This one is leaning a little bit more green, which I like, because obviously I fucking love green. But that's what makes me kind of go, the fact that that yellow leans a bit more green gives you that grungy thing. And it's just making me think of the Dramo palette that was done with Romy not that long ago. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 months ago, which I had pre-ordered and is arriving very soon. And I was thinking, how perfect would this palette be with that palette? Because obviously I can use this by itself. Yeah, there's absolutely no law that says that I have to use another palette. But I do appreciate that I can already think of stuff that I have that I could use this with. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got it. So sue me. I was terrible. I even used my own code because fuck it, why not? Yeah, I can't even explain just how excited I am about this. And I ordered, there were 2 8-pan Huaxu palettes as well that are like an older series. So I ordered them because in for a penny, in for a pound, don't fucking talk to me. Yeah, I'm very excited. I have ordered them. It's happening. It just is what it is. But there's more Sea Beauty stuff here as well. And this time it's from Sheen Effect. This isn't available over on Sea Beauty Mall yet, so I took this information from Look Healthy store. And this is the Sheen Effect Summer Collection. And there's 5 singles in here. You can't seem to bundle them yet. I would hope that they would consider doing that in the future. So the 5 shades are Spring is Here, Ideal Type, Answer, Puff, and Summer Momo Tea. They're $16.99 each, which obviously feels a little bit pricier. But then when you look at the way that they swatch, you kind of go, okay, fair enough. Here's my thing. Do I feel like they're all created equally? No. Nah, not really. Puff, when you look at it initially, looks like it's just a bog standard silver. But then the closer that you look at it, you can kind of see that green shift. So I'm like, okay, that's not bad. But then when you compare that to the shade Answer, that is such an obvious multi-chrome that it feels almost unfair to have the two together. You know, you're like, oh, it's like having a grade A student next to a grade C student. Not that there's anything wrong with a grade C student, but it just kind of makes them feel a bit bad about themselves when they're being compared to the person who got like 100% in the math test, is all I'm saying. Even that shade Ideal Type, it's a kind of standard gold, like that red tinge to it is fairly standard. You'd see that in a lot of things. So that doesn't exactly blow my mind. And even things like Spring Is Here and the Summer Momo Tea, I feel, maybe I'm being whatever, but I feel like we've seen these things before. If you asked me, do I need all of these? I personally don't think you do, because I am trying to be a little bit better. She said, even though she bought a shit ton of things this week. But I'm looking at these and just thinking about how much use I would personally get out of these. And it's not me saying that I don't think that these are beautiful. I think they are. But I could see that there's probably stuff in my collection that I could dupe out of these. And for $16.99, I just don't feel like it would make sense for me, particularly when they're not bundling it. But if you asked me, you have to get one of them, I think it's pretty clear I'd go for Answer. Like, that one is stunning. It's really, really interesting. But the rest of them just don't hit me in the way that Sheen Effect has recently, because Sheen Effect do have, if you honestly go look at some of their singles, they have some really nice singles that will make you kind of go, excuse me. They are like quite interesting. And this just feels a little bit more of like a whimper when compared to their previous collections. I think that they may need to step it up. There's nothing wrong with doing like singles, but I think they might need to think about doing bundles or just figuring out how to present them in a slightly more interesting way. Because I mean, there's so many brands. Let's be real. It's the buyer's market. We have lots of choice. It's very difficult for a brand to just continue to capture our attention. And I don't actually have anything from Sheen Effect. There's been nothing that's kind of captured me enough. And this is no exception. It just feels very like flat. So it's a bit of a pity, bit of a missed opportunity, but such is life. So you would be forgiven for thinking that when you're looking at this photograph that this is rare beauty. It's not. Rather impolitely, this is polite society. And I know I'm being a bit sassy or whatever, but the reality is there's only so many ways that you can present a highlighter. You know, it's not like somebody invented packaging. That packaging was probably put forward by a particular company and then it just became super, super popular. So I'm not going to get whatever about that, you know? There's only so many ways that you can present a highlighter. That's just how it is. That's not me defending Jared Blandino, but he's not my kind of a person. But I know that there have been a few people kind of saying like, oh, he ripped off Selena. And I just feel that in that respect, I can understand why people would, but there's also external factors. What I do think is a bit like, is the fact that the 4 shades that he selected to put forward are not quite identical, but very, very fucking close to the 4 shades of the highlighter that was put forward by Rare Beauty. So I think that that's quite interesting. The other thing is, this is much more expensive. They're $34 each, so much more expensive than the likes of Rare Beauty. They say that the benefits are, it's a glossy lit from within glow, radiant second skin finish, look of a liquid with the easy application of a powder, buildable highlight without the frosty background, silky soft texture, melts into the skin, high percentage of mirror-like pigments reflecting light, and it's talc free. And there's all these other bits and pieces of it being PETA and certified, all that sort of thing, vitamin E. Grand. It's fine, you know? I do feel I can see the similarity to Rare Beauty and I understand where people are coming from with that. Do I think that polite society will necessarily be very successful with this? I don't think so. Like, even when you see it swatched out in the arm, it is the most thing. Seeing it on the face, it's grand. grand. But the thing is, it's like, what, 2 years since the Rare Beauty ones came out, and the Rare Beauty ones are cheaper. Like, normally if you're trying to emulate an existing brand, you should at least try to make it be a little bit cheaper. It just seems like when you see them on the face, they look fine. They're grand, you know? I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my god, they're so ugly. They're fine. They're grand. I don't hate them. But the problem is Jared Blandino does not have goodwill with the makeup community. He's had several instances where he's just kind of shown who he is. So personally, I wouldn't go off and buy anything from Polite Society. Now, if you want to, that's totally fine. I'm not in the business of telling you what to do. You're a grown human being. You make your own choices, etc. I just think it's important to kind of make sure that we're informing our decisions and know where these things are coming from. It feels like, you know, this is a man who said that he came up with glitter eyeshadow, which, Jared, you didn't. Just don't make up silly lies, you silly goose. For somebody who tried to claim that he was very innovative and transformational, any of the things that I have seen coming out from Polite Society that do filter their way towards me seem very meh. They're not awful. I'm not sitting here being like, oh my god, put them straight into the bin. They seem fine, but not to the point that I would give up anything in my collection in favour of these particular things. It's just really interesting to see. Obviously, he stepped back from Too Faced and all of that thing, and I don't know if he'll ever know the same success with Polite Society as he once did with Too Faced. I personally don't think that he would. I know that some people said that his Polite Society foundation was meant to be pretty good, but even for me, even if I decided like, oh yeah, no, I'm cool with Jared Blandino, I'm going to buy something from there, it's not easily sourced here in Ireland. So it's like he doesn't have the reach that he once did. And I can only imagine that must be kind of difficult if you've gone from being such a global brand and then you're restarting on your own, and now it's just like starting from scratch yet again. Not that I feel bad for him, because, you know, as his cake says, rich lives matter, but I don't know. It feels like he's coming very late to the party with ideas, and they're not executed in a way that would make, I feel, most consumers actually be interested in it. But I could be wrong. Maybe you're sitting there being like, no, Teresa, this is exactly what I want, in which case, fantastic. Go get it. Enjoy yourself. Delighted for you. We then have Sacheu, and Sacheu became very popular in the last year because of their peel off lip liner things. They're really great. I actually have 2 of them. They're available via Boots. I talked about their liquid blushes recently, which I do want to try, but they haven't come to Boots yet. How fucking rude. But they have an extension to their lip glaze elixir, because currently they had 2 lip glaze elixir. One was like a transparent shade, and then one was like a sort of a bubblegum pink, but they have expanded on this. There's 3 new shades. They're retailing for $12 each, so they're very affordable. We have Tanghulu Candy, which is a shimmer, Chai Macaron, which is more of a nude colour, and then Midnight Lychee, which is this really interesting black cherry sort of a look. They claim that there's hydration and moisture in this because it's infused with squalene to produce intense hydration, which will also help to lock in moisture, and it's apparently going to improve your lip texture. There's olive oil in it, which is quite interesting, and vitamin E. I feel like that price tag of $12 is pretty darn good. Am I insane? I think that's pretty good. I don't know about you, but like trying to get lip glosses these days it's not difficult. Like, Jesus, you can't fucking move for all the lip glosses and lip oils that are out there. My God, we're swimming in them. But they've all increased in price, and it's very hard to find something that is truly affordable now. And I appreciate the fact that these are actually very wearable, everyday colours that if we'll just say you really needed a lip gloss and you were going to work and you kind of went, oh shit, my lip gloss isn't there and I needed to, I don't know, go into a meeting or whatever it is, whatever your hypothetical lip gloss situation is, that you could run in somewhere and get that for $12 and it's not, hopefully, going to break the bank. I actually think that's pretty darn good. The packaging is nice, it's very simple, it's grand. Like I said, I have some Sacheu products, so I quite like them. I really like the look of that Tanghulu Candy one, the sort of a shimmer. It looks like it does have a very nice glittery aspect to it. I'd love to see what that looks like with various types of lip liners underneath. Like if I put that on top of a black, have I gone a bit weird? I'd like to see what that looks like. It's very pretty. I assume also that the models are wearing their blushes as well, because it does look like that blush, which, as I said, I really do want to get. That shade, Chai Macaron, that looks really nice. It is a nude, but like a brown toned nude. I appreciate that more of the 90s tones are coming back. That is very, very nice. Yeah, I do like that. It does look like they've just had a dessert, which is exactly what I want to have whenever I have a lip gloss on. And then the Midnight Lychee, I haven't quite seen a shade that's exactly like that. I've seen stuff that's like close to it, but this is really, really pretty. I like that. There's almost that red tone to it, which is that cherry sort of a colour to it. I like this. I feel like the price point is really, really good. The stuff that I've tried from the brand to date has been great. My major issue is the fact that one of the distributors that I can actually get Sacheu through is Boots, aren't keeping up with their stuff. I think actually they're also available on Beauty Bay, if I remember correctly, but Beauty Bay also aren't up to date with their stuff. So maybe it's just that it comes to the US first and then it eventually comes over here. All I can say is I wouldn't say no. I don't need lip glosses. You know, I'm not sitting here with a dearth of lip glosses, but I think the price point is pretty good. I'd like to try it just to see if I could then recommend it to somebody. As if people are going around going, what do you think of lip glosses? Like as if I'm a fucking expert on these things. No, I know. Fuck all. I'm just interested in these things. I'd just like to know, is that a really good price point for it? Is it a bargain? Is it something you could recommend to have in your handbag? That sort of thing. I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually pretty nice. This next one, have I ever talked about Rimmel? You know, Rimmel London always makes me think of Kate Moss. Is that strange? Yeah, probably is a bit strange. I saw this over on Point Click Vibes, which by the way, they're fantastic. Go check out their Instagram. I use Point Click Vibes, Makeup on Your Radar and Trend Mood for information. They're kind of my go-tos. But basically, Rimmel London have done a really unusual collaboration with Spotify, and they've come out with 4 different products. So there's glow sticks, which are sort of like highlighters, eyeshadow sticks, there's mascara, and then there's super gel lacquers, which is like, okay, cool, but where the fuck does Spotify come in? Actually, on each of the products, there's a scannable code that will bring you to a Spotify playlist, which is kind of like, that's quite an interesting interactive sort of a thing. So I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I couldn't find the products for sale on Rimmel London themselves. They had some of the products up, they had some pictures, not many, but it was over on, and I don't know how to pronounce this, Notino, N-O-T-I-N-O, that I actually found these products. So there's 4 different shades of glow sticks. They're €5.80 each. There's the Wanderlust eyeshadow sticks. There's 4 shades, €9.80 each. The Thrill Seeker mascara, which is €10.20. And then there's 6 shades of super gel lacquers, and they range from €3.50 to €4.40, basically depending on whether they're top coats, etc. So we'll start off maybe on the glow sticks. I mean, €5.80. I was literally just talking about Sacheu and how rare it is to find stuff that's actually affordable. This isn't bad. If it performs well for €5.80, I don't dislike that. Now, when they're swatched out on the arm, I will say my biggest complaint here is the same thing that I said about Kylie Cosmetics. This is much more catered towards paler skin tones, and I just don't understand how we're still doing that in this day and age. I appreciate the ingredients that they have in there, so things like jojoba oil, hydraberry and pomegranate seeds, they look pretty nice. I quite like a sort of a cream-based blush, so this isn't a bad one. I love how they're like, oh yeah, festival proof, because obviously it's getting to that time of the year. So maybe they're just like, yeah, get this little stick and put it into your bag and you're ready for a festival. So I guess this is very much towards the young people who have perfect skin. God damn them. The aging hasn't found them yet, but it will. Let's go through each of these shades. Violet Pop. It's not very violet, it's more pink, but my God, I love that. I do. I really, really, genuinely genuinely like the shade of that. I will say though, it's pulling a little bit ashier on the model with the deeper skin tone, and that really frustrates me because it does look like it has this nice moisturizing sort of a quality to it. And no more than with Kylie Cosmetics, I just don't understand how you don't have a much broader range, particularly when you're such an international brand. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Peachy Rhythm looks quite nice, I will say. It's quite interesting that when they have it like kind of smashed out, it doesn't look very peachy, it almost looks like mauvey, but on the face it does pull quite peachy. I like that. I like a peachy colour, I can't help it. I'm very, very basic. Then the Kiss My Glow, that looks like that's more like of a highlighter. I like that. I like that. Kylie, are you listening? Because this is €5.80 versus €25.95. It's a fifth of the price. Yeah, well, a little under a fifth of the price. I don't hate this. Gonna say the same thing. You need a few more shades. Now, it might be that they have other shades in the Rimmel line that will cater towards deeper skin tones. Fair enough. But I personally feel like if you're going to do a collaboration with a brand that's as big as Spotify, you should be as inclusive as possible. There's not really much of a rationale to not be. Then there's Nude Beats. And again, I feel like that's really pretty. I like that it's somewhere between that pink and a peach, which is very, very nice. Again, just pulled a little bit too ashy on the model with the deeper skin tone, and I think that's such a pity. I do like these. I do. Do you know what? If these come to Boots and they're available, I'm going to have a little swatch and see what the story is, because like for €5.80, that is not bad. The shadow sticks then, they're €9.80, so they're a little bit more expensive. I can't tell what the story is here because they don't have them applied on the eyes, and that straight away makes me kind of be like, I want to know what the story is. Is it going to crease? How does it wear throughout the day? Like, what's the story there? I don't think they're bad shades. Like the shade Mermaid Blush, that looks quite pretty. But I want to know, is there like a metallic finish to this? Because it looks like it based upon what I'm looking at in the stick, but you've it scribbled out in a weird swatch, and I can't tell then because it looks a little bit more matte. It's a weird way to present it. The shade Soft Bubbles seems fine. You know, they're all very wearable colours. I do think this is a somewhat missed opportunity, that because they're kind of saying these are potentially for festivals, some of those shades are a little bit more safe. I personally like to see something a little bit more out there. Like the only bit where they start to go a little bit more out there is with the shade Galactic Green, and even that is quite a muted green. And I love green, trust me, I have a back catalogue of green. But I feel like this is quite a safe looking green. Again, I want to know if it's metallic. I'll still take it. I like it. And Pink Fizz. I don't know if they necessarily needed Pink Fizz and Mermaid Blush, you know, like one is just a little bit deeper. I think they could have maybe expanded or done a few extra bits and pieces on that, but currently the way that they're presenting it, it's not very clear what you're getting. The mascara then, I mean, it's grand. It's grand. It's €10 for a mascara. It's hard to get a mascara that's drugstore that doesn't cost a bomb these days, and I feel like €10 isn't too bad. I mean, those people probably already have fantastic lashes, and I have shit lashes, so I'm not even going to get into it. I don't need a mascara. I'm grand. Even the little nail polishes, they're quite cute. I appreciate that there's some correspondence between them and some of the shades that we've discussed. Like the green nail polish there kind of corresponds to the green shadow. The orange nail polish kind of corresponds to the more peachy blush. So it's not a bad one. It's not bad at all. By the way, that black one, I believe that's the top coat, so I think that one is for €3.50. They're grand. Like they look quite nice. I again wish that they had shown these on the nail, because unfortunately they haven't done that. The one shade that doesn't seem to correspond to any existing things within the collection is that more blue one, which is called Shake It More. I mean, I don't dislike the name. I think it's quite fun, but it does feel like it's a little bit of a departure from the rest. This is why I feel like there was like little gaps within this that they could have added in some extra bits. But do you know what? All in all, I don't think it's a bad collection. I have never seen a collaboration quite like this. There's a part of it that kind of gives me a little bit of nostalgia, because when I was really young, you know, you'd get cereals back when cereals, remember, would give you toys. Come with me, children, on a nostalgia tour, and you could either collect tokens or sometimes there would be the toy in the actual cereal. And I remember there were a few toys that you'd press a button and it would play a whole track of a song of like a particular performer. There was like Britney Spears and not Justin Timberlake at the time, but like NSYNC. And there's something about this that kind of links back into that. Like, yes, it's the more modern version of bringing you to a playlist, But I don't dislike that. I think that's kind of fun. It's a little bit out there. It's all very affordable. I rarely talk about Rimmel, but I don't think it's a bad one. The lovely Binge Beauty tagged me in this last week where we had just seen kind of a sneak peek, and it was indicated that there was going to be something coming out from Huda, and there was a lot of speculation of it being a lip stain. And over on Point Click Vibes, they've gone and basically confirmed this. So this is the Lip Contour Lip Stain. This is the information that we have on it now. It's coming out in 8 shades. Don't know the exact date. Don't know the price. So as per usual, useless. In typical Huda fashion, she's kind of stuck with the shades that she herself likes. She tends to kind of stick within the same sort of tones, like some pinks, some browns, etc., which is grand. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. They look fine. I mean, we'll see what the story is in terms of the price tag. I don't think it's necessarily bad. As you can see, Point Click Vibes watermark is all over it. Massive thank you. I stole their stuff. Ha ha ha. Aren't I a naughty little goose? I like the idea of the way that they've presented it as being like a form of like a lip liner. I think that's really, really interesting. And again, kind of linking it with their lip gloss. I'm assuming it's the faux lip filter thing. That looks quite nice. There's something about it that's kind of linking in a little bit towards the 90s, and I don't dislike it. I think it's actually very, very interesting. So depending upon the price, we'll see what the story is. I nearly shat myself when I saw this, and that's not just me with a dodgy tummy. As a few of you may know, I quite enjoy Isamaya Beauty. I hate that for me because it's a very expensive brand, but I missed out on the industrial palette, the first one, and I don't want to be over dramatic and be like, oh my god, it haunts me. But I do kind of go, I wish I had that, and it's bothered me so much that it never came back, and she was like, no, that was it, that was the time, it's done now. But over on Nico Hagenson's Instagram, they showed this basically saying they're coming back. Now they're not in the original form that they were. They're in what can be described as a bedpan, because I mean she's gone for this whole like medical sort of thing, which if I'm 100% honest, I don't love. I don't really want a palette that looks like a bedpan. It doesn't wildly appeal to me in that sense, but she's brought back the colour story from the 2 industrial palettes. So I am excited. From what I've heard on the grapevine, it's coming out sometime in August, so keep that in mind. Her palettes are normally quite expensive. You're not going to have a lot of change out of €150, right? So let's get that out there. I did, by the way, take some pictures from Trend Mood, and I took some pictures from Reddit, so that's what you're seeing right now. I hate this about myself, but even though I'm like sitting here being like, I don't like the shape of the pan, I'm fucking getting this, right? If I have to push you out of my way to get this, I will, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. I will, because I have like some empathy. But I was so annoyed with myself for missing out on that first industrial palette that this is like, you can get back. I mean, it drives me nuts that the pans are irregularly shaped. You guys know that about me. I'm like, okay, there's creative liberty, and then there's whatever the fuck it is that you're doing over here, Isamaya. You don't need to do this. We get it. You're very talented, but could you stop making weird pan shapes? Just put it back to how it was in the original industrial, which were nice little rectangular pans. Could you do that? But obviously she can't. So you know what? Fine. I'll compromise. I'll die a little bit inside, and I'll take a weird fucked up shape of a palette with weird pans just so I can get those, because I will say it, the shadows from Isamaya, they're so good. They're so good. I hate that I love them. I do. I hate that about myself. I wish I didn't have a champagne taste, because I have a fucking lemonade budget. So what am I doing? I don't know. Don't even have a lemonade budget. It's more of like a tap water budget. But here I am, and I know it's going to come out. So I'm going to start rooting under the couch and looking for a couple of euros and, you know, sell people's kidneys. I don't know. Girls got to do what a girl's got to do to... I'm mostly thinking about kidneys because it does look like it's the shape of a kidney, but also a bedpan. But I'm very excited about this. I know it's not a need. I know that. Intellectually, I know that. But you can't stop me, and I absolutely will have it. The very last thing then that we're talking about is Sigma Beauty, who are collaborating with Angela Bright, and they have said that something game-changing is dropping on the 10th of June. And it does look like it's a brush set. Let's be real, Sigma's brush sets are really, really good. But take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. I'm an affiliate. I know, isn't that disgusting, with the brand? If you use my surname, Mulhern, you'll get some money off. I still find that hilarious that it's my surname. It tickles me, if I'm 100% honest. I I'm going to reserve judgment. I'm going to reserve judgment. I got their neutral palette, which they sent me in PR, and you know what? It's nice. It is, you know. They're a strong, they're a consistent brand. There's quite a few things that have snuck into my favourites, like their, matte bronzer. I really enjoy that. I just feel like they're not a brand that gets talked about in terms of makeup, and they just always come back to brushes, which they do very well. But I'm like, I'd love to see them break out of that, because I feel there's much more to them than just the brushes. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. It was hopefully a shorter episode this week, but it always feels like I'm editing for the entire day. Don't cry for me, Argentina. You know, because it's just terrible. I don't like editing, and I will just find anything to do other than editing. I think that's maybe why I don't film as much, because I fucking hate editing. I get why like the big YouTubers are like, I've got a team and they're doing the thing. You do the horrible thing. I love actually filming and sitting down, but like, oh, the tediousness of putting together a PDF and like editing it. Bleh. But this brings me to my favourite comment, and this is from the lovely Sheen, who said, I'm cat sitting at the minute, so enjoying this week's episode with a kitty curled up in my lap. Does it get better than that? No, it doesn't. I'm totally envious of you cat sitting, and I say this, oh my god, the cutest thing ever happened today. So it's been really, really rainy, and you know how I built like some little outside kennels for the stray cats? 2 of them were curled up in it together, and I could see them from the window, and it was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. That's how you get me. It's just animals. Love animals, so I am delighted. What a fantastic way to watch releases and rants. I feel like it's very much at our core. That's what we should be doing. I hope many of you are also watching with a gorgeous little floof on your lap, or whatever it is that brings you comfort. Woo! Unfocusing. Anyways, that's my camera basically being like, let's go Teresa, let's shimmy. Thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell because it's polite. And do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case just wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.